So I think you're going to find that this session here will be incredibly helpful in create. How many of you know what an alter ego is? Do you think it's healthy or unhealthy to have? Depends on if we're talking about an alter ego or a crazy too big for your britches ego, right? There's a difference. All you guys in the room, you remember when you were a teenager and young 20s, right? You couldn't be told anything. I've got one of those living at home right now for the next couple of months. Yeah, and it's, I found that in the state of Ohio, I'm in Ohio now, and it's actually illegal to have shocking collars on your children. So anytime there's a doorbell, I'm like, take it off. I don't want him to see it. He's almost 18 years old, so that's fun. So one thing I'll tell you is for all of us in the room, myself included, when many of you know I was a middle school dropout, didn't even go to high school, no college, none of that stuff, and I had a kid when I was 17 years old, so all the strikes you can have against you, I certainly had against me. I went to 13 schools in 8 years because nobody could tell me what to do, all that bad stuff. And I realized that as big as I wanted to go in life, it's probably impossible for one human to do what I wanted to do. And for every one of you in this room, do you agree life gets in the way sometimes? You have this great, big, grand plan of what you want to do, but all this other shit gets in the way, right? And I know I need to be calling FSBOs. I know I need to be sending out those mailers. I know I should be doing but I just got behind. I don't think it's possible for one person to go as big as we should be going. I really don't think it's possible for you to do. And what I did, kind of by accident when I was younger, through some good and bad things that happened to me when I was younger, I would take all those good things and start to form this other person that's not Greg. Because Greg fights everybody all the time and is always in trouble and is always trying to hustle. I used to walk down to Kentucky Fried Chicken and get a bucket of 10 pieces of chicken for $9.99 and bring it back to school at recess and sell them for $3 a piece, right? So I would be late to my next class, but I'd make $10 a bucket, and I would get $30 a bucket. And then I'm thinking I can carry 2 buckets. And then I see they got these big bags, so like I was the chicken hustler at school. Anything I can do to make money. But I realized that I got to get my homework done. I'm working on a side business I was doing skateboarding. I was into racehorses. I was doing all this other stuff. And we all have stuff that we want to do, but I don't think you can do it on your own. I mean, think about this for a minute. If you could create an alter ego that is much, much stronger and bigger than you, you could call on that person to handle things when you can't handle it. And I know that sounds a little hairy-fairy, but I started to create mine. I didn't have a name for that alter ego until about 15 years ago. And the only reason I came up with a name for it is because I saw that every successful person, famous people that I'm getting ready to show you a whole bunch of them here, every one of them has an alter ego. You guys all familiar with Eminem? Marshall Mathers? He could not be who he wanted to be. He could not overcome the trailer park and the Detroit, Michigan and the poverty, and he had a kid and his baby mama's crazy and all the stuff that he was rapping about, but he created this alter ego called Slim Shady. And when he couldn't do all of the things he wanted to do and perform the way he needed to perform and become that person, because that person on stage is not the real person who he is. And by the way, you as a real estate agent are sometimes different than who you are as a person. You guys agree with that? If I followed you around at your office for 2 days and then followed you around at home for 2 days, it would seem like 2 different people. So what if we could actually massage that, make that even bigger for us to create that alter ego? My thought process is it's virtually impossible for you to build a business as big as you want to because you're human. It's a huge task to undertake, and you cannot get everything done. If we're doing the marketing, we're not handling our clients. If we're handling our clients, we're not doing the marketing. Many of you have heard me use the analogy, if you owned your own McDonald's and you're the only employee there, every customer would hate you and write bad reviews. Because while you're taking money, the last person's waiting on you to cook the food. Hold on, I'll go get your food. I'm back here cooking food. Now there's somebody in the drive-thru. You can't even run a burger joint by yourself. How are you going to run a successful real estate practice? You guys follow that? So you got to think in terms of, I need assistance, I need technology and systems and that type of thing, but I might need someone else to handle this for me as far as an alter ego. To get superhuman results in life, you have to act in a superhuman way. So you must have an alter ego. The superhuman person can accomplish anything, and it doesn't allow your drama to get in the way. So we all have drama that we deal with at home. I'm sure every one of you in the room would say, no, Greg, I have more drama than anybody. I feel I have more drama than anybody, right? I've got to take care of my whole family. My dad's physically disabled, and he's very high maintenance. You guys ever had somebody that's like too high maintenance? That's my dad, you know. But I feel, and again, this is getting a little more personal, but I never really was close with my dad at all, but I feel guilty as hell being extremely rich if he's not taken care of. Does that make sense? So I know that if I take really good care of him, I'm not going to feel guilty that I do well. So I'm like, Dad, don't bother me. Call me when you need money. I don't want to hear your drama. Your dog's sick, and you think it's because it barked at the mailman, and the mailman probably sprayed him and poisoned him. I don't want to hear that shit. How much money you need? So, I've got that drama as well. I've proven, by the way, just a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking at some of the local high schools, which I find funny. The high school wants me to speak to the kids. I'm like, if you give me free reign, that's fine. I told them, I'm like, I never came. This is the first time I've been in a high school, as a matter of fact. Yeah. But that drama gets in the way. I was actually talking to the kids, and I told them, I said, some of you do very well, your families do well, and you live in the nice neighborhoods here, and some of you don't do so well. Your families are hardworking and are doing everything they should, but they just don't make enough money. But I'm here to tell you, your DNA doesn't matter. So I'll give you an example. Your DNA doesn't matter. Your education doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is your ambition and your heart. If you want to be successful, you will. I said, I graduated the 8th grade. Never went to a day of high school, never went to college, never did any of that stuff. I had a kid when I was 17. I got in trouble for selling marijuana. I had $20 worth of marijuana when I was 17 years old. That was back when it was illegal for you young people that don't realize it used to be illegal. So I had all that stuff. I didn't have a car until I was 18 years old. I wrecked my car without insurance, and they gave me a 120-day suspension. Like, I had all this stuff happen to me. And my brother, who's 2 years younger than me, he graduated high school with honors, great family, married, 3 kids, perfect looking, everything. Like, fast forwarding to today, I'm a multi-millionaire and he's a heroin addict. Your DNA means nothing. Him and I, growing up, we had the same mom. We ate the same food every single day. We went to the same schools. We had the same talks. We both sat at the top of the stairs listening to the conversations downstairs when we were kids. You guys all done that stuff? We had the exact same stuff put in our mind, but the difference was I decided I was going to be a winner. And I'm telling you guys now, it's because I created an alter ego. It's someone that can handle stuff that I can't handle. Because today I had to raise my nieces and nephews because he can't. And don't get me wrong, my brother's an awesome freaking human. That is not who he is, but he's hooked on that shit. There's nothing you can do. He's a great person. I trust him more than anything, but that's kind of the world right now. So your history, your drama, your family stuff you're dealing with, good, bad, or ugly, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is if you can create this alter ego, you can get over all that stuff. Fortunately, alter egos have no fear. And they are dominant. They do what it takes, and they push forward regardless of barriers. That's a sentence worth writing down. Because I'm getting ready to show you some people that you know, some famous people. And you can Google this. Every single one of them became successful because they have an alter ego. So they have no fear. They are dominant. They do what it takes, and they push forward regardless of barriers. If you study ultra-successful people, you'll find that it's the one trait every single one of them has. Let me give you some examples here. We talked about Eminem. Eminem realized all the things he could not do in life, and everybody telling him how bad he was and everything else. If you guys have ever seen that movie, 8 Mile, he went directly into all of his negativities and said, yes, but I'm still going to overcome. Another one, of course, these are the musicians and the artists and stuff. They're the ones in the public eye, so they're the ones that there's more research about them, and they've been interviewed more often. So you'll see a lot of musicians and that type of thing. You guys remember Mr. Rogers? Mr. Rogers was scared to death of a camera and scared to death of talking to other human beings. The biggest introvert in the world. But he realized that if he had this little hand puppet named Daniel Tiger could say all the things that he wants to say. And he actually transformed himself with that tiger, and he would use that little voice. But it allowed him to start to get used to, I can talk to other humans, and they actually love what Daniel Tiger is teaching them. So he did it through a puppet. They did a movie about the real Mr. Rogers, and it was phenomenal learning how he overcame his childhood trauma. You guys know all the stuff that happened to Oprah and everything else. Same thing with him. But he was able to overcome that by creating this alter ego, and everything that he would do through that puppet. He actually learned that because when children have bad stuff happen to them, the police, the investigators will use these puppets. Okay, so this puppet's your dad. Tell me what happened. And they can do it through the puppets, but they can't do it themselves. You guys know what I mean there? So that's how Mr. Rogers came up with that, and he would always think, they want to interview me. I'm scared to death, but Daniel Tiger can do this interview. Another one here is Beyonce. Everybody know Beyonce? Scared to death of becoming the big person she wants to become, so she created this alter ego called Sasha Fierce. And she calls on Sasha Fierce anytime she needs to perform. So before she goes on stage, she literally, mentally transforms into Sasha Fierce. And that is the reason Beyonce is labeled as one of the best female performers, because it's not her up there doing that. She's an introvert, and she's pretty, and she's classy, and she's elegant, and she's a billionaire. She can't do that stuff that Beyonce's doing. Sasha Fierce does that. Okay? Another one here. You guys remember Bo Jackson? Bo Jackson's the only one to get a touchdown and a home run, 2 different professional sports, during the same season. And he wanted to find a way. See, he was ADD, and he couldn't stay focused. And he realized that if he was going to be good on the football field, he needs to be methodical. He needs to be surgical with what he does. He needs to be precise with everything he does, and people need to fear him. That's when Friday the 13th came out. And Jason never ran after anybody. Jason would just come and get you. He put that hockey mask on. You guys remember that? Like, how are you running that fast? And he's just walking, and he catches you every time. But he had to be that. And if you watch and you see interviews about Bo Jackson, what he would do is when he was lining up, he would take his face mask on his helmet and go like this. He was putting his hockey mask on. And he was absolutely unbeatable every single time. And that was just a mental thing he did with himself. I'm Jason. They cannot stop me. I'm absolutely indestructible. And if you see the way he runs on a football field, that's not human. It's superhuman what he's doing. So he would summons up that alter ego. Now again, how does this relate to real estate? You got to think about all the stuff we have that gets in our way because we're human. You got to find that alter ego. I'm going to show you mine here in a second as well. Kobe Bryant. He's the one that came up with Black Mamba. And he disclosed that early in a conversation, and that became his nickname, which is the most dangerous, venomous snake in the world that nobody can beat in just one little bite. Like, that's what related with him. What you'll find is every one of these have a very deep story, including my own. Mine was from when I was younger, and stuff with my grandfather and stuff that worked, when I'd see him helping others and that type of thing. Like, I created what worked for me. So you don't have to have a famous person. You don't have to be a famous person. You have to decide what has happened in your life that you can summons on that to become successful. David Goggins. How many of you are familiar with David Goggins? You want to become better in life, you better check him out on YouTube. He is freakishly productive. David Goggins has set the world record for everything there ever was, including a 100-mile marathon, or whatever they call that, Centuron, whatever it is. But they said, well, if you're going to run this 100-mile, you have to have a different 100-mile qualifier. He's like, I've never ran before. They were like, well, this is in 30 days. You probably need to do a little bit of training, and you have to have a different 100-mile marathon. And he says, well, I'm going to jump online and see if there's another 100-mile. So he found another 100-mile and ran that weekend so that he would qualify for the big one. He runs the big one, break 7 bones in his feet and 2 bones in his leg and still finish the damn thing. Blood pouring from everywhere, including urinating blood. Could not move, cramped up, everything else. Finishes, wins. He's won for pull-ups. He did pull-ups. He's got the Guinness Book of World Records until his hands were gone. There was no skin left. You can see pictures of it online. But he said, I can't do it, but Goggins can. David Goggins is just a human. But when I have those things happen, when I'm running, like Goggins can do it. That's who I call on. That's his separate alter ego person. And again, every one of these stories, I'm giving you kind of an overview here, but every one of these stories goes deeper. You know, again, if you look at like Beyonce with Sasha Fierce, I'm sure Sasha means something to her. Obviously, Fierce means something to her because she was always timid growing up, you know, that type of thing. For me, there's a lot that goes into who I am, what I do. How many of you have read The Prophet Path? You all just got a copy of it here. Have you guys read that? So you learn a lot about kind of the things that I learned growing up and what mentally reprogrammed me. I'm not kidding you when I tell you this. I'm the author of that. It will change your freaking life if you will read it and really consume it. Learn that stuff. That book in front of you will change your life because it's what's worked for not only me but thousands of other people, and just reprogramming the way you think about money and family and life and business and, you know, what's important in your life. So a lot of that comes down to the alter ego that I've created over the years as well. Again, we'll talk about that in just a second. Britney Spears, she couldn't perform at the level she wanted to, and she came up with Mona Lisa. I don't know what it means. I'm sure you can find it online. She probably goes into detail about what that means. But for her, it was all about perfection and doing a better job. She was very much dyslexic, could not remember her dance moves, couldn't remember anything else, but she would summons on Mona Lisa. And that's what became the Britney Spears that we all knew when she hit her prime. Christina Aguilera, hers is ex-Tina. Again, I don't know what that means for her. You can do your own research on that. But these are the people that came from out of nowhere and became successful. This is the dark horse that came from out of nowhere as the big long shot to become massively successful. Mariah Carey has her alter ego called Mimi. She's saying about that. She's written about that. She's been in several articles about that. And of course now, as she starts to get older, as we all do, but you guys remember how big Mariah Carey was at the time. How did she get there? That's how she got there. So I would encourage you to do some research on why these people use those alter egos. Jennifer Lopez, hers is Lola. Okay, so if you guys don't remember, do you guys remember the show years ago called In Living Color? You remember that? That's how Jim Carrey got started and all those. She was one of the Fly Girls. She was just a dancer. She was a backup, one of 8. She was nobody. But she decided to become successful. And she did that by summoning Lola. And that's how she ultimately became J-Lo, you know, becoming the successful. And by the way, she wasn't the prettiest one. But she decided she was going to become successful. You guys have heard me talk about before, fame is manufactured. So she decided to create that. Prince has Camille. Okay, so when Prince was performing, and you could see his feminine side for sure, he was very much male, but he performed more feminine, but that was Camille performing, not him. And it was amazing, like him or not, good or bad, whatever. It was absolutely amazing and entertaining as a performer, but he summons on Camille to make that happen. For myself, it's Johnny Atlas. So there's a whole lot of stuff that I hate to do, I don't like to do, I'm uncomfortable doing, but I can just say, I'm going to summons Johnny Atlas. He can do this stuff. So if you guys read The Prophet Path, you'll learn my analogy about Atlas. That was the god that kept the weight of the world on his shoulders and, you know, was able to keep moving forward. And I've always felt like that my entire life. My family, I've never had a family member of my life that's made over 40 grand per year, ever. None of them. Mom, dad, brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces, I got to pay for everybody. The weight of me being married a couple of times and child support and raising the kids and all the stuff we all have to deal with, it always felt like a lot of weight for me. Growing up, many of you know my grandfather's name was Johnny. I was really close with my grandfather. You'll learn a little bit about that in The Prophet Path as well. And my grandpa was big in the racehorse business, but he was a true cowboy from Louisiana. He actually came up to Ohio with the rodeo. That's how my grandma met him. She wanted a cowboy. But he was absolutely phenomenal at helping other people. He would always want to help other people. And he was very good with mechanics. That's something I'm not good at. Anything that's broke. If your washer's broke, he'll fix it right now. He needs like a coffee can and black tape. He's like MacGyver. But there was so many times that we would be going somewhere and he'd see an old lady on the side of the road, broke down, steam coming out of her engine or whatever, and he would stop and fix whatever was wrong to get her going where she needed to go. And I'll never forget how amazed they were at him. Thank you, you saved my day, you thanked me so much, or you helped me so much. And I'll never forget every time he's like, that's what life's about, helping other people. That's what life's about, helping other people. And I didn't even realize until I was in my mid-20s. My grandpa was from Louisiana, so he always wore like the Southwest. When he would dress up, I don't know what they call it, the Western wear. So it's like, say, a white shirt, but it has the Southwestern swirls on it and stuff. And I never realized why I did this until I was in my 20s. But every time we'd stop on the side of the road or he was fixing a tractor or whatever it was, he would pop the hood and he would roll up his sleeves and there was little artwork on the inside of his sleeves. And I always remember that. When he was getting ready to do something big, when he was getting ready to help somebody, he'd roll up his sleeves. And there was always a funny little color underneath his sleeves. And since I was 9 years old, I've been obsessed with Robert Graham shirts. And then you guys see me in them all the time. The team will tell you, I never wear these unless I'm in front of you. Because we're getting ready to change somebody's life. We're getting ready to help them out. I wear T-shirts. I wear motivational T-shirts. Get the money, keep hustling, that type of stuff. I wear T-shirts around the house, and when I'm working, when I'm meeting with the team, whatever. Anytime I'm getting ready to do a video, like if they see me walking through and I'm putting a shirt on, they're like, you getting ready to do a Facebook Live? Because, I don't know, that's my uniform. I got to roll up the sleeves, and it's got to have the paisley print on it because I'm getting ready to make somebody say, oh, my gosh, you saved my life. You helped me out. So throughout my life, I've created this Johnny Atlas, which is a combination of things I've experienced and stuff that's happened over the years. And what happens is, when I've got all my drama in the way, Johnny Atlas can get this shit done. He does not have fear. He can fix anything, and the only thing he cares about is helping that person out, getting them where they need to be. So to go further with that, I found through thousands of private coaching calls that the number one thing standing in our way of prolific production is our own BS. You guys agree with that? Well, Greg, you don't understand. I got some health stuff, and then my daughter's stuff, and then we had a leak at the house, and then I'm dealing with we're rehabbing a place right now, and that's taking all my time. And maybe you're not qualified for this. Maybe you need Johnny Atlas to handle this stuff. You know what I mean? Because I have the same drama, by the way. I have the same drama. You guys don't know what it's like. I'm going to hold it together. You don't know what it's like to text your brother, and if he doesn't call you back, you're thinking he might be dead. If he doesn't text you back. You guys are all parents. You know how you feel, right? If you contact your kids and they don't, you start thinking, oh my gosh, he's going under that bridge, and I know there's homeless people live under that bridge, and, so that stuff can really, really get to you, and the first thing that's going to happen is your business will fail because we're all emotional beings. So for you to truly have extraordinary output, you have to let someone else get in the zone for you. You have to get that alter ego, as all of these folks here have done. So I'll give you an example here. You'll find this interesting. Realtor Magazine, years ago, had me labeled as one of the top real estate agents in the United States of America. I was 29 years old. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of closings. Have built and sold 3 brokerages for well over $1 million each. Have been massively successful. I coach realtors. I've made thousands of calls. I converted multi-millionaires all over the country to list their home, whether it be with me or with one of our agents that I'm helping them We've converted them. I've listened to hundreds of good and bad phone call recordings. I'm highly qualified. And I still get that stupid anxiety every time I think about calling a lead. Today, I still get, oh shit, I don't really want to call them. What if they don't like me? I don't know what to do. Thank God Johnny Atlas eats that shit for breakfast. Give me the phone. Johnny Atlas, I swear to God, he's like that great. He's a little bitch. Give me the phone. I'm going to call him right now. Watch. Just watch what I do. And it's so easy to just summons that up, and it happens. And every time, like Johnny Atlas he's cocky, man. He sets up the appointment, hangs up the phone like, see, told you, little bitch. Why don't you man up next time? I know. But I mean, seriously, today, if you got, because I'm telling you, if we called a lead right here, I'd call a lead on speakerphone right now, I would be scared out of my freaking mind. But I could summons Johnny Atlas to do it, and we'd get an appointment. And it's that way every single day. I've done this thousands of times. Guys, I have flown private jet to San Diego to list a $7 million home with an agent. And still, if I called a $150,000 seller, I'd have all this crap running on in my head. Well, I wonder if it's a bad time to call them. I don't want to call it dinner time. Well, I don't know, it's Saturday. Well, they have kids. Maybe they're doing baseball right now. I'll do all that crap in my head. You guys do that too? And it would allow me to remain broke if that's what I had happening in my life. If I let that own me, it would truly own me. So I had to find a way to break through that crap, and it's literally another human that does this. Okay, now, psychologically, if they put us on the news, they'd be like, he's crazy. He has multiple personalities, and he turns on, you know what I mean? But like, we're doing this for good. Where you see this stuff, like somebody that goes and kills 3 people, and they're like, I don't know what happened. It wasn't me. Something took over my body. We're doing this for good, right? We're doing this for betterment, for helping people out. So it's actually a very, very good thing. And every single day, we have to summons that person up. Another thing I've learned, by the way, I thought about this last night and thinking for our preparation here, as well as all the stuff going on with the hotel. Johnny Atlas is way, 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 way overprotective of me, which is why I'm like, I flip a switch when somebody makes me mad. I freak the hell out. There's probably 9 of you in here I've cussed out repeatedly, like very roughly. And that's when they do what they shouldn't be doing. It wasn't me, it was Johnny. But you have to make sure that you are able to make that impact you want to make in life. I worry about, if I were making the call or going on the appointment, I worry about commission structure and competition and possibly losing a deal. When I see their college degrees on the wall walking through the property, I wonder if they think that matters or if they'll ask me about my degrees when I sit down. All of these things add up to have me in my own head. You guys ever feel that way? You're in your own way, you're in your own head. And I have the same, even today, like I can throw out realtor magazines all over the place of articles they've written up on me and all the stuff I've done and, you know, all the things that I've accomplished in life. But if I walk through and I see their degrees, I know that's important to them. It doesn't make a shit to me, but it's important to them, so I know I'm going to have to address this when we sit down. Johnny Atlas don't care about that crap. He's here to sell their home for more than they could get from any other agent they'd list with. So Johnny Atlas tells me to shut up, and he takes over, and that dude is fearless. And that's when Beyonce became Sasha Fierce. That's exactly what happened with her as well. And by the way, this is all by accident. Like I said, this is stuff we've just been doing research on in the last few years, but I've been doing this for years. You've got to create an alter ego to get more accomplished. So it might be a name or something that makes sense only to you. It doesn't need to relate to a movie or a character or anything else. But I think you'll find that it will make a drastic difference on what you get accomplished every day, actually becoming successful. So if you put out there into the ether, I want to make $800,000 next year, that's actually possible. When I sit down with an agent and we do a blueprint day together where we spend a full day, I want to know what your numbers are, but be careful with what number you want to hit because I want to show you what it takes to get there. And if it becomes overwhelming to you, it's because you're trying to do it all yourself. You've got to have that alter ego that just gets it done. I hear people say all the time, Greg, I don't know how you're always on time. How do you get all this stuff done? You always call me right to the minute. If that appointment's at 1 o'clock, you never call at 12:59. You never call at 1:01. How are you handling all this stuff? How are you a machine? That ain't me. I got all this other drama going on. You have to find out who and what that is for you so you can summons it up to become more profitable. It might make you $500,000 next year in 2020. It truly might make that big of a difference for you. So, with that in mind, we're going to jump into, is that helpful for you guys, by the way? With that in mind, we're going to jump into some of the main core reasons you're here and what I want you to focus on. Your number one recommendation for you during our coaching retreat here is to build an audience and talk to them every single day. So you've heard me talk a lot about we used to have leads and we want to get more leads, more leads, more leads. Well, you already do a bad job with all those leads. Why are you buying more? I was talking to an agent the other day and he says, well, I've got 150 free home value leads. Okay, how often do you call them? Oh, I don't. So you don't have 150 leads. Well, I usually try them the first time. Okay, let me ask you this. Your offer was find out exactly how much your home is worth by clicking this button, right? How many of those 150 did you actually give the value to? Like the 9 that I talked to. So 141 people know you suck and you don't follow through on your promises. You actually sped up the rate at which the market finds out you're no good. Because their perception is, I called a realtor and they never called me back. Do you guys follow that? His theory is, well, if I got the lead, I got to call them. And, if I can't give them their value if I don't talk to them on the phone. So my number one recommendation is stop trying to get leads. They're a lead for 24 hours. But after 24 hours, they go into your audience. And your audience is somebody you talk to every single day. I'll guarantee you there are a whole lot of real estate coaches out there that do what I do. The biggest one of all right now is good at marketing and sucks at real estate. He's never, ever been licensed in his life, ever. That's Tom Ferry. Never even sat across from somebody, but he's good at marketing and gets lots and lots of people, right? How many of you would think, like, you need heart surgery, and you call the doctor, and the doctor's like, well, I'm not really a doctor, but my dad was a really good heart surgeon in the 80s. Before thermal fax machines and the internet. But marketing fixes all of that stuff. Many of you know, like of even comparing to any coach that's out there, I've talked to you more than anyone by doing a Facebook Live every single day. I talk to you every single day. So think about every buyer lead you have, every seller lead you have. What if you're talking to them every single day? To where they feel like they know you, where when you're walking through the hotel, they're like, hey, I just wanted to introduce myself. You see what I mean? Fame is manufactured. I'm just Greg.
Well, you're in flow.
Yeah, you're in flow with them, exactly right. My son, even today, he's 17 years old, he's like, Dad, why would anybody fly to go talk to you? To go listen to you talk. He's like, I live in this house and I want you to shut up. They actually want to hear from you. You're never a hero in your own backyard, by the way. Trust me, I'm just Dad. And everything I say is wrong. He's going to prove me wrong every day. So your job here today, the number one goal today and tomorrow, is to build your audience. Now, your audience has already started because you have a lot of past clients in sphere of influence that you've ignored for a while. You have a lot of leads that are unconverted that you bought from various sources that you've ignored for a while. That can all start to become your audience. You can buy your audience by running ads. We're going to talk a lot about how do you do that on a shoestring budget to really build it up where you want it to be. Derek and I have a couple of sessions we're going to cover for you on that. But you might want to think, like, how did Greg find me? I thought I found him. Right? I found you. You didn't find me. But I had good quality content in front of them. And when you think about all the things you can talk to a homeowner or a home buyer about, you are going to look like a real estate genius in about a week because it's more than they've ever heard in their entire life. As an example, if you do thought-provoking video, if you do a video today about, hey, you guys know, congratulations, the U.S. economy is worth more than it ever has been before. Stock market's higher than it's ever been. So you know what that means for you? Your 401k is skyrocketed right now. Congratulations on that. It's getting ready to bomb. Did you know you could cash out your 401k and use it towards the purchase of a house? Just by doing that, they're like, wow, you know what? I never really thought of that. My 401k is higher than it's ever been. That makes sense. If the stock market goes down, my 401k is going to go down as well. All of these professional economists are saying that when the market crashes, this time real estate won't. It's going to steadily appreciate at a more reasonable 2 to 3% per year. I'd rather get 2% per year than negative 20. Maybe I should cash out my 401k. Now, we always tell them, get with your financial advisor. I don't want to give you financial advice. I'm just a real estate agent. I can only give you real estate advice. But I can tell you that you can use your 401k as a down payment on a house. Get with your financial advisor to find out the pros and the cons of doing so. By you doing a video like that, all your past clients, your sphere of influence, whatever, they don't care that you're ugly or fat or old or not in a nice area or there's trees behind you or there's shiny on the mirror or all the crap that we put in our head. They don't care because you gave them good content. It does not matter. And then tomorrow, you have the next thing that you do for them. And the next day, you have the next thing you do for them. And what would happen if the people that love you start to love you more, and the people that are never going to work with you at all unsubscribe? Awesome. Great. You're never going to work with me, so you deleted yourself from my list? Thank you so much. That's good for you and me, and now I don't feel like I'm pestering anybody, because the only people that are watching are the people that love me. Bye. That's the way you have to look at this. I can't tell you how many times I've created an email campaign for an agent, and they send it out, and they send it to 5,000 people, and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. 22 people unsubscribed. Yeah, but 4,978 of them liked it, or at least were okay with it. Like, that's what we want to focus on. You put way too much weight on your losses or on your negatives. The way I look at it is I'm never going to bother them again. They weren't going to work with you. So that's good. Let them go. So that's the number one thing I want you to focus on is how do you build your audience? And it's not just Facebook, by the way. That might be geographic farming. Some of you work luxury areas or neighborhoods you're interested in, that type of thing. You've got your past clients, all that good stuff. Work with them and talk to them through as many media as possible. You don't need more leads or more ads or more scripts or the latest, greatest software. It's not needed. Now, I know that every time you open your email, you turn into yourself instead of your alter ego. And you start shopping. Maybe this is what I'm missing. The new CRM that just came out. Well, how did they sell 70 million houses last month without it then? It's not needed. What it's doing is it's confusing you, making you feel like lesser of a realtor because you're seeing all this other crap that, first of all, you can't afford to buy, and secondly, you know damn well you ain't going to learn how to do it, so it frustrates you more, you hate the business more, and you're like, screw it, I'm canceling that and watching this next webinar. Isn't that what we do? Oh my gosh, every day. I'll tell you something as an insider here, inside baseball on my business. As a coach, I love picking up agents that are doing tons of business. You cannot get their damn attention. I can't get their attention. They're too focused on making money. They don't mess with their email. They got somebody else doing their email. They're not doing their Facebook. They have a social media manager, right? They're doing stuff that matters, that's making an impact to their business. So it's real hard to attract top producers. You'll get lucky sometimes. But they're so focused on what they're doing. They know how to move that bottom line. They know how to move the needle. So you don't need more leads. That's not your purpose for being here. Greg, how do I find more buyers and sellers? Well, you pass like probably 37 for sale by owners from your house to the airport. There's 37 people that are actively trying to sell their house right now. Not thinking about it, they have a sign in their yard. You just got to know what to do and say. And you got to get out of your own way about, oh, they're not going to like me, so that you can get them to work with you. Your internal conversation should be centered around getting people to watch you and showing off your knowledge. Okay? So there's a few agents in here that are really good at this, that are starting to do it more and more, doing Facebook Lives every day, or just doing videos they're sending out. You guys know with Bomb and all that stuff, it's so easy to do now. There's, where's Jan Flowers at? Jan, all the way in the back. I need to just look in the back every time. She must have laser vision. You can see the screen. What's the program you use that lets you send the videos and the GIFs and that type of thing? Lion Desk. And that's like $20 a month or something. It's cheap. $49. So Lion Desk lets you send videos via email. So you don't have to do it on Facebook. You don't even have to have a Facebook page. Lion Desk works. Jan does that. Krista does Facebook Lives every day. Sharon and her team are starting to do it. Sean Long here does a lot of video through email. And you'll find that these agents are going to keep seeing their business going up and up, because do you guys agree cell phones are pretty much televisions now? Right? That is your television. I was surprised when we moved into our house in Ohio. I asked my son, we were getting cable and internet installed. I'm like, okay, we'll need cable here, we'll need cable, and you got to count how many boxes you'll need. I'm like, you want cable in your room, right? He's like, for what? Dude, I begged my mom when I was a kid, can I please have a TV in my room? He's like, I don't want no damn TV. What? Yeah, they use their phone or their laptop and Netflix, and he's like, I'm not going to watch whatever the TV tells me to watch. I decide what I'm going to watch. How different is that compared to when we grew up? I had channels 4, 6, and 10, and if the president is on, your night is shot. You guys remember those days? Like, it's, oh my God, what are we going to do? But now they decide what they're going to watch. They're in the middle of a series, binging on a series right now. I'm in the 5th episode. So your internal conversation, what you're thinking about, should be centered around, how do I get my message in front of these people and get them binging on me? One thing I'll tell you, and I hear this from a lot of agents that are doing Facebook Lives every day, when I do these lives, I'll run one today at 6 p.m., and I'll go to bed, and I wake up every morning, 7 o'clock, and I start looking, and I have Facebook comment, Facebook comment, Facebook comment, Facebook comment, from the same person commenting on 10 or 12 videos. Holy crap, I just found your stuff. 2 o'clock in the morning. I just found your stuff. Where have you been my whole life? Thank you so much for giving out so much great information. Oh my gosh, this is the greatest info I've ever had. And they've been binging on multiple videos at 3 o'clock in the morning. How many of you run Facebook ads and you get leads at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, the middle of the weekend, right? Like, it's great, but that's when people are scrolling, they can't sleep, whatever. That's what they're doing. Okay? You won't find that on Zillow as much. You'll find it on Facebook, Instagram, things where they're just scrolling through. So your job is to try and get in front of as many of those as you can. You don't need them to like you or friend you or fan you or any of that stuff, because if they watch the video, it automatically pixels them. So I can say, anybody that watched at least 80% of this video, let's show them a whole bunch more videos. Anybody that watched less than 5 seconds, kick them out of there because they don't like my stuff and I don't want to bother anybody. And that system does that. You don't need to learn software and programs, and don't say, oh, that's a tech stuff. Have somebody else do it. Like, you're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars if you don't do that. Literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I want you to focus on building that audience. 2 things to think about. What are the 5 ways I can build my audience? And then what are the 5 ways I can educate them and offer a call to action, a CTA? So what are the 5 ways that I can build my audience? What are some ideas you have? And that type of thing. A really good one is to interview other people that have clients that you'd like to get with. You interview a big-time attorney, a big-time CPA, a big-time financial consultant. You just put them on a Zoom call with you. And then we can share that or advertise that to people that follow them. So one of my mentors and coaches is Frank Kern. And I did an interview with Frank at one of our mastermind meetings. I brought him to the side at lunch, and I was like, hey, I just want to do an interview with you. And now it's the Greg Luther and Frank Kern interview. If I wanted to, I could share that with his 5 million people that are interested in him. You know why they're going to watch it? Because it's an interview of him. You know what they learn about? Me. Right? So there's a lot of stuff you can do in building this. What are the 5 ways you can build it, and what are the 5 ways you can educate them? different ideas. You do not need new groundbreaking information every time you do a video or an email or anything else, but you want it to be thought through. How many of you have at least 2,000 contacts and leads and past clients and all that stuff? How many of you have at least 2,000 old leads? Okay, so about a quarter of the room. Do you agree that you should be a little more thoughtful if you were sending all of them an email? So let's say you're doing an email blast. A lot of times what I find with real estate agents is they'll just start to, type it up a little bit, like, if you're thinking of buying or selling a home, give me a call, and they'll hit send. No preparation, no writing copy, no anything. Now think about this for a second. You go to your local football stadium. I don't know what it is. It's a Buffalo Bills. And you're on a stage there, and there's 2,000 people in the audience, and you're going to give a presentation. Would you put a little more thought into what you're getting ready to say? It's still 2,000 live human beings that you're getting ready to give a presentation to. That's what we're doing when we send out 2,000 emails. But it's so easy for us to just type it up and send it and then say, oh, nobody replied, nobody opened it, nobody cares. Well, maybe it's because you put garbage out. Same with a postcard. If you send 2,000 postcards, I'm going to use this template from the printer site because that looks pretty and that's easy enough, and I just drop in my just sold. So I'm going to send that to 2,000. Did you really think through that presentation? Would you have done differently if you were standing at the HOA meeting and all 2,000 people were there to learn from the neighborhood realtor specialist? Would you think more through what you're saying, or would you just read that postcard? You see what I mean there? We don't really look at marketing for what it is. So when you're talking to this audience, you want to truly think through what it is that you're going to have to present to them. And you can do that in email. You can do it in text. You can do it in video. Heck, a 3-minute video might be incredibly valuable for them. Okay, it doesn't need to be a long, drawn-out thing. This is not a lot of work. It's just new work. It's something you've never done before. So it's not a lot of work to do this. I can talk to 30,000 people a day. I follow up with 30,000 leads a day. It takes 10 minutes. Done. Every single one of them. Get high-quality content in 10 minutes. So you are in an information age right now where you can make more money as a real estate agent than ever before. I don't care how long you've been licensed. It's easier right now to make tons and tons of money than it's ever been before because of the tools that are available to us. And how easy, you'll never need to learn how to write HTML code. That's 10 years ago. Now, point and click. If you can send an email, you can do it. If you can figure out where's the send button and where's the create button, you can do it. So it's that simple to do, but those tools are available. Are you using them for profit? A lot of the stuff we're doing, and again, we talk a lot about Facebook because that's the low-hanging fruit right now. I mean, that is too freaking easy. It is unbelievable how easy it is to make that work, but you got to do it every day. You guys agree that doing 300 sit-ups a day would help you in losing weight and getting fit? What if you did 300 nonstop right now today? What would you look like tomorrow? Same. Yeah, bent over, right? How do you feel? You got any Tylenol? Morphine? So it takes action over and over and over to make that happen. And I'm going to show you some examples of how you can put that together for yourself in terms of what you need to do in creating your audience. But it's not a lot of work. It's 10 minutes a day. That's like saying, man, I would brush my teeth, but that's so much work. And twice a day, too? Oh, my gosh. I'm just going to be, my breath's going to be kicking like Jackie Chan. I'm just going to leave it like this. That's too much work. But you probably brush your teeth 10 minutes a day between preparation and everything else, right? If you brush your teeth 2 or 3 times. So it's not a lot of work. It's just new work. It's just different, which for you can find all the reasons in the world not to do it. One thing I talked about on the bonus call we did the other day is if I tell agents, here's an approach you can use, and here's an approach you can use, and here's an approach you can use. I already know which one they're going to choose. Whichever one's confusing as hell that they don't understand, that's going to frustrate them and have them breaking their keyboard over their legs. That's the one they want to choose because they think that's the one that's really holding them back. So if I say, call a FSBO and ask these 3 questions. And then I say, here's a postcard, send it out to expireds. And then I say, here's how you create a Facebook custom audience, link to your HTML page, which then goes into your CRM and will send automated emails. I'll instantly get emails from, I can't figure out this Facebook shit. Do you have anybody that'll talk to me? You guys agree that's what we do? Because that is a form of procrastination. We feel like we're learning and doing and moving forward, but we're not actually out there on the field of play. We're avoiding something. We're not out there on the field of play talking to a for sale by owner that's going to be tough on you on commission. I got news for you. Everybody's tough on commission. They're just so damn ready, you're worried they might be too much for you. So we play these mind games with ourselves all the time. And again, you'll learn about that in the profit path. We play these mind games with ourselves all the time, and we'll find these distractions to allow procrastination, and we'll procrastinate, which allows us to find more distractions. That's the 2 biggest problems for realtors, by the way. Distraction and procrastination. I've got a topic we're going to cover on procrastination, but maybe we'll do that next time. We got other stuff we can do right now. So once you start to program yourself and get results from it, like sit-ups suck, but if you do sit-ups every day for 15 days and it starts to work for you, then you're going to feel really good about yourself and you're going to keep doing it, and that becomes a new routine. You've heard them say like 21 days to create a habit or whatever. But I'm telling you, you can do anything you want to do if you'd have the freaking discipline. If you'll have the discipline to do that. I told the team, I was like, well, we got a coaching retreat coming up. And they were like, that means we're getting some Nutrisystem here soon. Because I always lose weight before the coaching retreat. So I'm always like, we're 28 days out, I'll lose 28 pounds. And every damn time, it was 28 pounds in 28 days. Because, again, it's a weird thing. From when I was younger, I remember somebody saying, well, how the hell you think somebody's going to think you can take care of them when you can't take care of yourself? That always stuck in my head. I'd go out on an appointment and I'd be like, oh, do I look the part? Am I okay? If I look like I don't take care of myself, I certainly can't take care of their home sale. I always had that thing in my head, right? So every time we have a coaching retreat, I'm like, time to drop the weight. I already have an appointment Wednesday at the Olive Garden. All you can eat pasta, never-ending pasta bowl. I'm going to go right back to that shit. If I want to stay skinny, I need to do 4 coaching retreats a year. So I can never put it back on. But when you tell yourself, and they'll tell you, I stick to that stuff. I know, I got 28 days, I'm losing 28 pounds. I'm not going to show up and lose 25 because then I'm a freaking failure. I told myself I was going to lose 28 pounds in 28 days. 0 exercise, by the way. I don't lie to myself about I'm going to do exercise because then I'll really feel like a failure when I don't. So it's straight Nutrisystem and sit on your ass all day. 28 pounds in 28 days. And I swear to you, that's exactly what's happened. Not one time did I touch a treadmill. The treadmill is what I hang my clothes on. It's not what I exercise on. So it's very easy to do. It's just different. It won't take much time, but it will take discipline. Okay? So your discipline has to happen. Deja, do you have my phone? If you can bring it up here. So it will take discipline for you to become successful with this, for you to make it happen every single day, just like any new habit you do. Right? And I've always pointed out, if you see somebody that walks in front of us here and they're physically fit, you know what they've done to get there, don't you? Right? There's a sacrifice, there's an everyday, Derek is a perfect example. I came down here at 5:30 in the morning because I thought I was going to have to strangle some more people. And at 5:30, he's leaving the gym. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? It's 5:30 I didn't even know my phone had a 5 on it. It's 5:30 in the morning, you're in the gym. But that's discipline, right? Well, don't you agree there's stuff you have to do to be financially fit as well? And it has to be done every single day. There's stuff you have to do to be mentally fit, and it has to be done every single day. We can just more readily see it if it's physical. But I can assure you, if you see somebody that's financially fit, it's because they're doing something every day. They're practicing. For us, it's the marketing agenda. I'm going to show you an example of that tomorrow, handwritten out. How you put a marketing agenda together. And if you do that every single day, that's your financial going to the gym. Working it out. Okay? These deals keep working out. That's why my money stays in shape. That's the way you got to look at it. That was spoken by the great philosopher G-Eazy. If you guys aren't familiar with the rap game today. So this can very easily be done for you. Again, it probably won't be done by you personally because you let life get in the way. If I were to start to ask you right now, why aren't you closing an extra 100 deals a year? Write down all of those reasons. It would all be personal reasons. Every bit of it would be all the stuff that we're dealing with, because we all have that stuff. And I got news for you. There's one thing I can guarantee you. Bad shit's going to happen to you next year too. I promise it will. You're going to have a lot of bad stuff happen, and as we get older, it happens more and more, doesn't it? And then when it's not happening to you, it's happening to someone else that you're taking care of or that you're close with, and then you have to be there for them. So I've always been of the belief that I better have some systems working for me. If I don't show up at McDonald's, my McDonald's still runs. It will run without me. It doesn't depend on me to be there. If you open, you guys have probably seen this before, if you open a Subway franchise and the owner is there making subs, he is owned by that business. And here's his theory. Every time I hire the kids, they give the damn subs out to all their school friends. They come in here and they're giving them subs and they're taking my money and they're running out the back with all the meat and everything else. So I'm just going to do it myself. Well, look at what he's done now. He was successful. He had money that he was able to buy a Subway franchise. And now here he is making subs, working a double shift because we got to open the store or I'll lose my franchise. And this downward spiral continues. It's dependent on him. It's not dependent on systems. You guys follow that? And it's the same way for us in real estate. I know you think you make the best subs and nobody can do it like you. You know, you're the best real estate, and all these other agents, anybody I've hired, they don't do what I... Well, there were 5,000 closings in your MLS that happened without you last month. Only 3 happened with you. So 3 people got a really good service from how amazing you are, but 5,000 got somebody else. And you've worked with those agents, you know how bad they are. You guys ever had a bad co-op deal before? How often does that happen? So what you have to do is be able to summons on that alter ego and focus on the things that actually matter and get them accomplished. If you don't have a marketing director, get a marketing director. If you don't have a transaction coordinator, get a transaction coordinator. You do not need a buyer's agent. I would almost rather you not deal with buyers than to have a buyer's agent until you get to your own capacity level where you're actually doing some good business. Then bring somebody on. Okay? But if you look at like Leo here, he prefers to work with sellers from San Marcos here in California. Prefers working with sellers. Would rather not have buyers at all. Now, he could build a big business and hire a buyer's agent and, you know, get more closings every month and all that. But he's like, no, if I'm a huge fish in a small pond, I'm perfect. That's the right thinking, by the way. I want to be a huge fish in a small pond. I don't need to go far. If I'm going to that neighborhood, I'd like to have 2 listing appointments tonight. I got a 5 o'clock and a 7 o'clock. Isn't that a better way of going? It's a better way of building a business. Now, by the way, that probably won't happen to you until you find like the new meaning of life and something happened to you that you're like, well, I'm tired of hustling like that, man. I was wasting my whole life. I'm burned out. I always tell everybody, you couldn't have been burned out. You were never on fire. You're just frustrated, right? How are you burned out with that production? So, it's actually very easy to build this, but you got to get focused on the stuff that matters. Fortunately, it doesn't take much time. Tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit about your marketing agenda, and you'll see it takes less than 40 minutes a day. Now, I know I could tell you, you could lose weight and be physically fit, and your heart will be stronger, and you'll live longer to provide for those that matter if you just work out 20 minutes a day. You're never going to do it. And I can tell you all day, it's only 20 minutes a day. Everybody's got 20 minutes. You can make it. No. Because it's not important enough to you, you're going to find all these other excuses as to why you can't. When my grandmother was alive, she's like, I'm making a commitment today. I'm going to walk for 15 minutes every single day. I'm like, no, you're not. She's like, why? You need to be more supportive. I said, well, I am supportive, but I'm also realistic, and it's supposed to rain tomorrow morning. You ain't going to make it through tomorrow because you'll be like, oh, shit, it's raining. I'll go tomorrow. Why do today what you could put off till tomorrow, right? And not one day, it literally rained the next day, not one day did she ever start walking. So you have to decide, like you can walk in the house if you want to. There's a lot of ways you can make this happen, but you have to be disciplined in making it happen, okay? Uh-huh. Yeah, alter ego is absolutely going to help you, because I'm telling you now, if I ever had to make lead calls, it would never happen. It would not happen because I don't like it. I don't need it. I make so much money, I give it away. I don't need it. But my alter ego will do it. Because my alter ego is like, no, you got a lot of people who depend on you, and there's a lot of stuff you can do. And I don't know if you know, there's a horse auction coming up soon, Greg. There's a horse auction. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Give me the phone. So you'll let all that stuff get in the way. If you can summons up that alter ego, you can get it done. The same is true on building a business. If it's you, you'll find all the reasons not to. I don't want to deal with crybabies all the time. Nobody does what they're supposed to do. And then I feel like I'm chasing everybody all the time. And they're going to steal my clients. And they're going to steal all my tools and go do it on their own. You don't want the business you have. You think somebody's going to steal it from you? When I was broke, my mom was talking about I had to be careful so nobody steals my identity. Who the hell would want my identity? I got a credit score of 7. What are they going to do with it? I can't get a credit card. How are they going to? It didn't matter to me then. So you've got to think about, stop finding all the reasons they're not going to work out, the team isn't going to work, I don't like working with other people, I'm better by myself. All of that is you becoming a recluse so that you can keep things small and keep it all. So that you can just get by, so you can keep struggling running your Subway shop all by yourself. Because you can find a million reasons not to hire people at $10 an hour. Okay, well then you hired yourself. Guess how much you're making? $10 an hour. Don't be mad when you're broke. Don't be mad when you can't come up with the money for royalties and now you're mad at Subway that they took 2% of your money. This is your fault that you did that. Can't tell you how many agents are mad at what their broker split is, or their broker takes 3 days to pay. You can't wait 3 days to get paid? You got a business problem. You don't have a problem with expenses, you have a problem with income. I closed at the end of the month and my mortgage is due on the 1st and I never get paid before the 4th. Well, why don't you close a couple of deals every week then? Then that's not a problem for you. That's like complaining that you only get your tax return once a year. Well, you make money in between there, so you don't depend on that tax return. So you got to step up. You got to summons that up. Start to think about that alter ego for you. What is that for you? What are the good things and the bad things that have happened to you? And what would you want that person to represent? So really what you're doing, and we hate to put it this way, but I want you to think about all the things you don't like about yourself. Because Johnny Atlas is the opposite of that. Mr. Rogers says, I don't like being timid. I don't like talking to people. I certainly don't like the camera. I clam up, but Daniel Tiger is really good at that. So what is it for you? Don't like making the calls. Don't like meeting the clients. Don't like negotiating commission. Don't like doing the marketing. Don't like the technology side. Whatever it is that you don't like about your business, I'm telling you, you're unknowingly sabotaging yourself when it comes to those things. You're unknowingly sabotaging yourself. And when you have awareness, you're not going to have those issues. So they'll tell you, like with me being on my Nutrisystem stuff, like all day long when I'm working, I'm snacking. And I lie to myself, like it's fueling me. It keeps me going. I get all the things I need. Well, when you're snacking all day, you're dumping 5,000 calories in your body. When I flip that switch, it's Nutrisystem and fruit. That's it. And tons of vegetables. That's it. All day long. You can put all the Snickers in front of me you want to. And I'm not touching any of it because I've turned that switch on. I know where I'm going with this. So you have to know what it is that when you turn your switch on, it gets rid of all that crap that's in the way of your business, all the crap that's in the way of you actually producing and getting where you want to be. Now, I could do that if I wanted to. I could do that for physical fitness, to become muscle bound or whatever. Not interested. Right? They're like, well, man, if you cut out the kickstarts, I know it's a big can, but it's 80 calories, and if you do 8 of them a day, that's a whole lot of calories. I'm like, I'm not setting myself up to fail. I know I will not stop doing it, so I'm not even going to slow down. I'm going to find a way to do it with that. So I do the exact same thing. I cut all the way back to 7 a day, by the way. Save me 80 calories. Now I can have an extra banana. But I'm not going to because I know, and I know what happens too on my energy level and producing and all that stuff. So, this works for me. It's clean. It's not like the Red Bull crap and all that. So I'm like, I got to find a workaround for that. I have a dog. I have to find a workaround. Like, she's got to go out every day. I can't leave for 3 days. You got to have that. You got to find a workaround. If you have kids, I got to find a workaround. There's a whole lot of people who say, I can't do that. I have kids. Well, how many people, do you think nobody else in this world has kids? Like, you need to find a workaround. That's how it works. One of the best employees I ever had, she's got 2 kids, worked for me for 5 years, would still be with me today if I hadn't had to move across the country. And not one day did she ever use her kids as an excuse. Great mom, by the way. They love her. They're awesome kids. They get the flu. They get sick. They get lice. They get all the stuff that all kids deal with. They get hurt, everything else, and she finds a workaround. I got to be to work. I have job to do. I have production that I have to do. You find a workaround. There's a whole lot of people who sit at home and play video games at 35 years old, living with their parents, because I don't have a degree. What do you expect me to do? So they play video games all day at their mom's house at 35 years old. Find a workaround. So you need to find a workaround for yourself. What do you like about yourself, and what do you wish you were different about? I do not want you to work on your weaknesses, because if you do, you will have stronger weaknesses. Delegate them. I know that if I were to mow my grass at my house, that the day I would mow it would be the day I get complaints from the neighbors or the HOA, because it's too high. Like, I got other stuff I can do, so I'm just delegated. I've never owned a lawnmower in my life. I'm just not going to do it. So you've got to find out, what are you good at, what are you not good at, and if you can't delegate it to someone else, delegate it to that alter ego that will allow it to happen, because the alter ego loves that stuff. They eat that stuff for breakfast. Whatever that fear is. A lot of times it is the phone or the appointment that you're real nervous about. Say a $3 million listing appointment. If you're going on a $3 million listing appointment. A lot of times we'll get in our own head about that. What do the listing contracts look like in your state if it's over $3 million compared to lower than $3 million? Sign here. That's it. What do the for sale signs look like? It's the same stuff. But we'll play this in our head. Well, I've never done a home over $800,000 before. It doesn't matter. But if you play that game in your head, you're going to sabotage your own success. You will not do as well. So this is a lot of times about believing in yourself, believing that you can get there, and it might take that alter ego to make that happen. But again, for me, when you have those helpful things that you need to set up. So I'll tell you another little story here. When I was young, I just told this story about 2 months ago. As a matter of fact, I hadn't talked about it in 10 years. When I was younger, I was real close with my grandpa, and we have the county fair where he worked, where he lived. He lived on the fairgrounds, and he was the caretaker of the fairgrounds. So when they would bring in all the food trucks and all that, he would place them and help them and get it hooked up and all that stuff. And when I was a little kid, I used to run around the fairgrounds there, and we loved, it's called the Great Dark County Fair. It's in Greenville, Ohio. The biggest fair in Ohio by far, and they have 80 of them. So I loved going to the fair, and we would go across the street to eat. So we'd go outside the fairgrounds, we'd go across the street to eat, and coming back each day, we would have to wait on the crosswalk, and of course families with strollers and balloons, and they're going to the fair and whatever, and there's just a lot of people, so they got to hurry across, and then they got to get in line to pay to go into the fair. So we're there probably the third or fourth day of the fair. We're standing at the crosswalk, and we start crossing with everybody else, and you're trying to watch the timer because it counts down and all that stuff, and there's a little old man in a walker. And he's like, I need somebody to help me cross the street. I need somebody to help me cross the street. Can somebody help me? And he can't even hardly use a normal voice, let alone scream. Like old and brittle and that, but he's going to the county fair. I was probably 3/4 of the way across, and I ran back to help him. And he can go on his own, but he's like, I'm just scared to death. I'm going to fall down in the middle of the street. Nobody will see me. If I fall down, I can't get back up. So I'm just kind of like holding my hand on his back. I'm not even really doing anything. But I helped him across. The light already turns green, so they need to wait and all that stuff. But as we were walking into the fair, I didn't think anything about it. And, we're walking over to where my grandpa's house was, and he said, that was a really nice thing you helped him cross. And for my grandpa to tell me that was big. Like, Oh my gosh, that was amazing. I never really thought much about it, but he must have seen my face, how I lit up when he gave me that compliment. So I became really successful in real estate, and I swear to you, it never came up again about that day. I became really successful in real estate at 23. At 24, they had me do a class at the office I was with. It's a company called HER Realtors in Columbus. They had me do a class there, and one of the agents that was going through a divorce and losing their house to foreclosure because they weren't making any money, sure enough, they were able to close 3 deals in 30 days from that class that I put together for them. And they came in the office sobbing to me, "Thank you so much. You saved my marriage, you saved my house, everything else." And I went back to my grandpa. We were racing horses, and I told him this story. And he said, "You helped him cross." And that hit me that's unbelievable that he remembered that from so many years ago. And what I'm doing is I'm helping other people, right? So every single time, I get tons of testimonials from you guys and agents that are doing well and that type of thing. Every time, in my mind, I'm like, helped another one cross. Helped them cross the road. And it's just a little, again, it's that alter ego thing that you work, that you're doing it for a bigger purpose. You're not doing it for yourself. Does that make sense? You're doing it for a bigger purpose. And I think, I'll give you an example. I know something about you you don't know. You would perform better as a real estate agent if you had another person there working with you. Not because you'll do more, because now you want to show up for them and their family because they depend on you more than you depend on you. You guys follow that? You will actually perform better for someone else's benefit than you will for yourself. So you're not greedy. It's not about you. It's not an ego issue. You will actually do more. You will show up more. You will demand more of your business because your team depends on you. Their family, their kids depend on you, so you will show up bigger for them than you will for yourself. You guys follow that? That's all part of alter ego. So if you start to program yourself that way, I'm telling you, you'll show up bigger. One thing you won't be doing is sitting at home watching Judge Judy all day. Right? Or Storage Wars, or whatever it is that you're watching. Oh, they found electronics in that one. They can probably get $12 for that. What the hell are you doing? Call a FSBO. I don't get it. Okay, so I saw a hand go up. We'll take a couple of questions, and then we'll take a break. Yep?
You're saying that to program your alter ego, and how would you do that?
The first thing is what I would do is find out all the things you don't like about yourself. If I could change this about me. And really, it's just the things you don't like to do. So if it is making calls, meetings, going to the appointments, negotiating commission, showing why you're better than other agents, doing the marketing every day, the technology stuff, kind of go over that because you're going to need to call on that person to handle it when you start to shut down, when you start to find reasons to procrastinate. So I would start with writing down all of the things you don't like about yourself and all the things that you want to be. I've never been one for tons of compliments and and I know this is weird, I probably shouldn't even disclose this. I hate affection, like hugs and stuff. I don't like for my family to hug me. I want to be there for them, I want to help them, everything else, but I get uncomfortable with hugs. Is anybody else that way so I don't feel weird? Okay, so there's a few of you. It's all the top producers that just raised their hands. Maybe we're on, you guys should never hug anyone ever again. But it's a weird thing about me, when I'd see my grandma, "Oh, you're supposed to hug your grandma." And she wants to pinch your cheeks and loves you and wants to squeeze you and all. But I was like, "Yeah, grandma, it's fine, I'm good." Now I smell like old lady if you're on, I got all this crap going on in my head. But I would always be there for her with anything that she ever needs. It's just a weird thing about me, right? But if you meet your in-laws for the first time, you're going to turn that stuff off and your representative shows up for that meeting, don't they? Right? Hey, it's so good to see you. So that's your alter ego that's doing that. It wasn't you, it was your representative, like your first date. You don't really look your lover in the eyes. Really, your cat's that smart? Can't you tell when you're at a restaurant and you see somebody that's on a first date, you're like, "Oh, that's a first date." The guy's so engaged. Really? Your cat can open the refrigerator? That's amazing. He's trying to get laid. You don't care about that damn cat. But that, like, you know you're turning on an alter ego to do that for different reasons. That make sense? So I would start with that. Hopefully that answers your question. Care about her cat. That's what you want to do. I see another hand go up. Any other questions? Alter ego? Oh, over here, yep. Great question. So it's how do we find the person to do the things we don't want to do? So, yeah, if it's something you don't know how to do, you got to decide, can my alter ego learn that, handle that, do that, or do I need to hire someone to do that? See, for me, the worst thing I can ever imagine is hiring somebody because I don't deal well with people. Like, I am not a people person at all.
Sometimes it takes a psychology breakthrough to figure out if you're going to kick yourself in the pants. Who would you be? And put your Superman hat on.
Yeah.
Superwoman hat on.
Yeah, literally wear that. And there's a gentleman that teaches this, and he actually has superhero gear at his house or at his office, like the shield from Captain America or whatever it is, like family drama. You know, and he literally does that to program himself. And by the way, he teaches alter ego, but there's a lot of this that you've got to figure out how to do it on your own or hire somebody. So for me, and those of you that have followed me for a long time, you know that I never, ever, ever, ever hired guys. That's illegal to do, but I'll guarantee you, if I get 1,000 resumes, dude's name gone, dude's name gone, gone. No shot, because I know I'm going to punch somebody if they get mouthy. I know me. I can't handle the lawsuit. I'm just not going to do it. It's not going to be good for them or me. Now, when I hired Josh, that was I was, at a different point, and him and I get along well, and, all that, and he doesn't have that high D personality, the combative stuff. You guys, if you can imagine a high D with a high D, it doesn't go well. They literally sleep with one eye open if you have to share a hotel room that night. They're like... So we click really well, and he knows, like, if I'm pissed off, he just calms down. The last thing you want to do is get pissed off when I'm pissed off. You know what I mean? You guys have heard opposites attract, and it's kind of the same way there. So, it's I got over that with me now, and now I hire more based on personalities than I do on sex. Because for me, I knew no matter what, I'd never hit a woman, so I'm good. The joke is I'd never hit a woman, but I'd shake the hell out of her, But there might be a stern talking to, but I would never fly off the handle. So I knew that about myself. What I realized is you actually need to hire based on personality so that they click better with you. The worst thing you can do is hire somebody that you're like, they remind me of me. They're just like me. Well, then you're both going to prison. It's going to be bad. So you want that opposite type person. So in hiring someone, for instance, if you don't like technology, that's probably going to be that S or C personality. They love that stuff. They'll sit there and they have the patience. I don't have the patience at all. Josh wanted me to load a video on our members' website the other day. We're starting to do a whole revamp of the members' website, which will be done in the next couple months here. But he wanted me to load a video, and he gave me the password. He texted me the password. And you could look at his text message now. It was not 60 seconds later. I texted back, yeah, that ain't going to work. I logged in, and there was all kinds of shit, and I ran away. He's like, all you got to do is click here, click. I swear to God, I logged in, and all kinds of links came up. I'm like, nope, I'm done. That's just me. I hate that stuff. So I got to have somebody else do it, because I would be so miserable. Look, hold on, what'd you say? Click the scroll down and then go to, it's not going down. And then he'd give me well, you're using Internet Explorer. Nothing works in Internet Explorer. You got to go to Firefox. Screw this crap. We don't even need a members website. That's how I would run my business. I'll demolish myself, because if it's up to me, it's not going to get done. You guys see what I mean? So there's things that have to be accomplished. You got to get someone that their personality or their specialty can handle that for you. So if it is something you feel like you're just not doing it even though you know how to, like mowing the grass, and you want that alter ego to do it for you, great. If not, you need to look at hiring somebody to do it for you.